Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that there are less chess grandmasters in the world than there are billionaires? It is one of the hardest titles to achieve in any walk of life. And keeping that in mind, imagine how rare it is to have two brothers in the same family be grandmasters. That's the purpose of today's video. You see, there's two chess grandmasters from Germany, Frederick and Rasmus Svane. They are brothers. I have played them almost 10 times online. I have one draw, and I have lost literally every other game to them. So I went on tour recently in Europe, and when I'd made a stop in Munich, I decided, wouldn't it be fun to invite them on stage and play them both at the same time? And that is exactly what I did. I played them 2-on-1 in a speed game. They had to make alternating moves and not talk to each other, and we did this in front of a crowd of 700 people. This was a really special game. It was an epic game as well. So, can I beat two chess grandmasters at the same time? Video split into two parts. First, you'll see the live footage with my voiceover because the audio is not so great, and then I will analyze the game. I hope you enjoy. Oh, one last thing. We made Sacrifice the Rook merch for the tour, but for a limited time, you can get it for yourself. Just go to GothamChess.store. I'll also put a link in the top line of the description. Now let's get into the game. So, we shook hands, and the game began. The opening was something that I've played many times. It was d4 knight f6, and I played the Trumpowski. And at this point, we were still making small talk, getting to know each other, getting acquainted. And I think part of this opening was a bit stressful for them, to be honest, because it's very strange to play as a team. It's also strange to have a live audience of 700 people. And I didn't play the most ambitious way, but neither did they. Rasmus here plays this move e6, blocking in the light-squared bishop, and his younger brother Frederick let him have it a little bit, saying, why would you close in the bishop? And at this point, I employed a stonewall setup. So I'm going to develop my light-squared bishop, and I'm not moving my f-pawn. You'll notice I haven't developed my king's knight because I would like to play f2, f4. I also asked Frederick here if he would have played the move that his brother played, and he said no. So at this point, I'm ready to give up my dark-squared bishop, and the younger brother prompts me to do just that, but I was very happy to do that. All my pawns are on dark squares, and now I play this move knight to f3, while also making the crowd laugh. So far, so good. I can't lose in 10 moves. I've traded off my bad bishop. Notice all my pawns are in dark squares, but my dark-squared bishop has been traded off. And they're trying to develop their light-squared bishop on the other side of the board. I actually could have maybe even put pressure here, but I simply castled. Natural move. I've had this position many times against both grandmasters and weaker players, and I have a pretty good score. I'm quite familiar with the plans, so that's always nice, even if you're playing against two people. Now, we banter a bit. I need to make a decision. Am I going to jump in with my knight into the center of the board? I don't see any move more natural than that. There's no reason to delay, so I play knight to e5. Should we trade, I would take with the advanced f-pawn, keeping my center together and opening up my rook. And also this last move opens up my queen, so I can go bring my queen into the game. I had a feeling I had a really nice position here, and you can see from the eval bar, it is more white than it is black. So this move follows naturally from the previous, although I'm not sure it was the best, but we'll analyze later anyway. I know we will because I made the video, so there will be an analysis. And I'm really thrilled here, actually, because two people have to come up with a defense, and they might not be aligned at all, and they can't talk, and you see the hesitation there from Rasmus, who takes my knight. It's a big decision, because now I have to decide which pawn to take back with. You know, if I take with the center pawn, the D pawn, then my F pawn could be used as a battering ram. If I take with the F pawn, then I open up my rook, but I do give a little bit more activity to their bishop. And we keep chatting. I do take with the F pawn. To me, this seemed more natural, but we see the eval bar didn't love it. Frederick quickly responds with an attack on my pawn, immediately seizing back an initiative, and the guys would like to begin some sort of attacks. Now, this move is interesting. If black now takes in the center, I can't take with my e-pawn, my doubled pawn there, because the bishop would be taking my knight. They are pinning my pawn to my knight. And also at this point, it was Rasmus who said he wasn't thrilled with their position, but the younger brother, Frederick, said, "You're too pessimistic." And we're both getting kind of lower on time. And here, Rasmus plays the move f5, and we have a really funny exchange. 2,600 feet in, but knows his memes, you know? A connoisseur of memes, as they say. Okay. Now, en passant is not forced, unfortunately, but that would have alleviated a lot of pressure. I would have gotten their rooks out, their queen out. Kind of fascinating. One of the best players in Germany and a 2,600 FIDE player browses enough Reddit chess that they know about this meme. I just transferred my rook over here. Clearly, as you can see from the plummeting eval bar, that was not the best move. Cameraman showing up, left side of the screen. Actually, that's not the cameraman. That's Stefan. He organized like the whole tour. And now here, with this queen trade offer, yeah, we have this moment. What am I famous for?
Okay, that's definitely a good move. All right, I'll do it. Wow.
I don't That's all I have to do. I just have to strike the rook and they shear, you know? It's probably like minus 1.5. But... So I sacrificed my rook for a bishop and a pawn. I didn't actually only do this for content. I actually really liked the position. I thought black did not have a lot of ideas anymore. The only idea probably just includes trading my queen, whereas I'm going to bring in my knight and my rook. And that is exactly what Frederick did. He offered a queen trade. I infiltrate. And now they're going to repeat the moves. I threaten them with a draw. Of course, we are not going to do that. They don't want to draw. They want to keep playing. And that's why they open up their 7th rank. They're disagreeing on every move. Rasmus and Frederick would not be playing the same way. Now, here I'm going to bring in my rook. I'm going to bring in my knight. Now they need to evacuate their king. There's not a lot of time on the clock. I would say about 30 seconds here per player. King to g7. Maybe the h-file is there. I have pawns I can also use. Tough to decide what to do here. I like my position, but I have to make moves, so I bring in my knight. Another queen trade offer. It's actually maybe not terrible to trade the queens, by the way. But we can't do that. We're playing, we're playing for checkmate. So I say no queen trade. But maybe not the best move. Now they begin taking a little space. And we still got to be funny and make jokes. Knight to g5. They bring the rook to the h-file. They're going to create some counterplay. Nothing scary. I can probably just push my pawns up and hold them there. But I'm getting a little nervous. We don't have that much time. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm trying to reposition my knight to where the queen just was. That was my idea, but I'm not going to be in time as they are coordinating their pieces very well and they're on the same wavelength. Here comes my knight. I'm kind of baiting them to push the pawn in front of their king, but I'm not sure they can get away with it. So I'm repositioning, still making jokes, trying to distract them. And the whole left side of the board isn't even moving. And they bring the rook forward a little bit, trying to slide it over to the left 1 square to g4 to target me. I can offer a rook trade. I can bring my bishop back to maybe block. And I do offer the rook trade. With 1 less rook, I will have less of an attack, but maybe I won't get mated either. They reinforce. Suddenly, I felt like I was losing control of the position here. Looking for maybe trades, and I bring my bishop back. At this point, I realized I can just do nothing. They're not really threatening anything either, and they also do nothing. And I just move a pawn 1 square, but black is taking over. So, rook h6. Do they have the dexterity and speed to keep up with me? Bishop back. I also go bishop back. We're just shuffling. a5, they're going to try to break through on that side of the board. I'm still shuffling because we're frozen. Nobody can do anything. We have less than 10 seconds each around. Pawn takes in the center. I also take back, but now what? Now how are they going to break through on the other side of the board? They're trying. There it is. Pawn to b5. We got to move fast. Got to move fast. I bring the bishop back again. Do they push? What do they do? Their queen needs to defend their rook. They do push. Could that be a mistake? Pawn takes. Pawn takes. I take back. If the queen takes, they lose their rook. So maybe they have to trade rooks with me. That's what they do. Now knight takes, and now they take my pawn. Here I thought I was just losing. I thought I was immediate losing, but suddenly my king's getting away. I lose my pawn, but king h2, and it's not really clear. They can't take my pawn, knight h5. I offer it to them. Sadly, they didn't accept. They are better, but Team chess is hard. And they almost lost on time. I infiltrate with the queen. They got to bring the queen back. This is very scary. They do. And here, bishop h5. That's what I play. But they defend themselves. I have to make a move. I got to make a move. I got to do something. I move my king. But I lost on time. All right. That was crazy. I almost beat 2 Grandmasters at the same time. Let's analyze this game. So first things first, I played the Trumpowski. And this is an opening that I have played hundreds of times. It's also one of the courses on Chessly, my educational platform, in case you don't know. It's a great system. It cuts out a lot of defenses for black, and it oftentimes forces black to play at your pace and into positions that you like. And this was basically exactly what happened here. You know, when the bishop is here in the London, it's one thing, but when the bishop is here, you oftentimes can trade it and delay moving the knight on f3. And that's exactly what I did in this game. They kind of gave me exactly what I wanted. And, you know, we got here. And this is just about a dream opening position for a Trumpowski player. Because I'm going to have control of e5. I have attacking ideas. And there were so many attacking ideas buried in this game that I didn't even realize. Like b6, trying to develop the bishop was fine. But here, instead of knight to e5, the computer is so crazy, it recommends g4. Just straight up g4. I was like, what? I'm not even threatening to go g5, though. Like, what if they just develop their position? Yeah, queen e2, with ideas to play queen g2 and g5, also rook f2, double up like this. The computer loves this position. I've never seen this before. I'm actually going to add this to my toolbox. You just take space. That's all you do. You take space, and black can't really move. Black has to go here, try to bring the bishop back, and by then you launch another pawn. It's like, wow, g4 is a crazy idea. And then also, of course, king h1, just to, you know, put a rook behind the king, obviously, also. But yeah, knight e5. And again, another instructive moment here, which I briefly mentioned in the video. I thought I can take with this pawn or this pawn. They both come with pros and cons. If I took with this pawn, I get connect 4, so I win. I also open up my rook, which I liked, and also I don't open up the center. So to me, this move made a lot of sense, even if the trade-off was allowing the bishop to be a little active. Actually, the better move is this. Because the computer really loves that the bishop is so passive. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't let the bishop get out at all. And this move, which would open up the center, open up the diagonal, is just not that powerful. For example, rook f3, d4, rook g3, creating a threat over here. Black goes king h8. Now the computer says, okay, just take, and just close the center. Which again, I gotta tell you, this looks nice in theory, but it's like, why did I do this to my bishop? Well, you did this to your bishop because, you know, you're gonna play f5 in the future, and maybe f6, and maybe get the knight in, and maybe move the rook and keep attacking. I don't know, though. You know, I was a little bit hesitant to play like this, which is why instead of taking with this pawn, I took with this pawn. But the computer was unimpressed, and this is the final moment. Like, this was a really funny moment in this game. Rasmus played the move f5, and he said en passant is forced, right? And I was like, well, you know, obviously I can take en passant, but why would I do that? If I take en passant, I relinquish my central pawn, so then a bunch of squares become available for my opponents. Also, I'm going to get their rook into the game. The trade-off is that I open up my bishop, but if their rook enters the game, I don't know how I'm ever going to checkmate. Well, it turns out this was their worst move of the game. that's actually, as it turns out, and by the way, it was made by the older brother, you know? So that's kind of fitting. No, I mean, actually, this is the best move. I didn't see what the follow-up was here, because again, like if I take with a rook, they take, and then I thought they can just run away with their king, like bishop f6. If queen g6, it's not checkmate. Like, this is not checkmate. You know, rook f3, the king can just run away, and I thought, well, their king is just going to run, and I don't have anything. But that actually was the best move, and after rook f6, I can just go here. I can just keep improving, but I just didn't see where the win was. Well, it's yeah, I have very nice attacking chances here with h4 and so on. So actually, as it so happens, Rasmus accidentally gave me the best move. En passant was forced, and I am I'm an idiot. I should have probably taken en passant. But I thought, why would I do that? I'm just gonna go here, and I'm gonna use my pawn at a later moment and not worry. And I thought, center is closed, I'm just gonna hammer away. Luckily for me, they made a mistake on the literal next move. So first of all, we had en passant is forced, which is one of the chess memes, but then we also have sacrificed the rook. This was epic. The fact that I got to sacrifice my rook against 2 GMs on the same team was amazing. You know, and the crowd was there. People were cheering before this move even happened. People were like, sack the rook, but they just yell that all the time, even if it's like the worst move in the position. But I was looking at this, and I was going, well, I'm attacking, so obviously I don't want to trade the queens, because then they're going to go here. And I was like, I got to do it. It's the best move. Not only is it the best move, and the only move, like I'm maintaining an advantage, you know? Rook takes. They can't take my queen. I take, and I win a bishop. So I went here, and in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, I don't see what move they're going to play. They don't have anything. Like, they can try to open up the position, but then that just opens my bishop. And I just thought I have a very easy game. The only thing they can do is come down on the H-file, which they did. They did try to implement that. So they went here. I went here. They repeated, you know, and then it's completely not clear what the next move should be, because my plan is very simple. Literally bring all my pieces and checkmate them. Their plan is like, move here, try to trade the bishop. They went here. That's actually a huge provocation. They want to get the king off the back rank, and then they want to bring the rook, and then they want to bring the queen. And obviously, I need time to attack this pawn. I brought my rook, which was fine. The computer slightly preferred bringing the knight first. I don't quite understand why, but maybe just knight h4 and g4. But all right, I brought my rook. They went king g7, and I brought my knight. 2 very natural moves. They go queen d8, offering another queen trade. Again, I can probably trade the queens. It's not the end of the world, but I went here, and now they went queen e7, and the idea of queen e7 is to protect this, and now to try to implement this plan, like we were discussing. Funny enough, g4 here is also very strong, which I would have just never played, because I was like, why would I open up, right? But it's actually very good. So if they play rook h8, I put the queen behind the g-pawn, and now I have a battering ram, and they don't have easy access with their rook, and if they play something like rook h6, I mean, I simply win a pawn, and I have a crushing position. Crushing is actually strong. It's barely even +1, which is kind of nuts. That's what happens when you play Grandmasters, you know? And then here I was like, I'm going to go here. And then the idea was, my original idea was that they're going to play rook h8, and then I was going to go here. I was going to play like this. I was going to hold my position there. But I didn't see a way forward. But to be honest, this was actually fine. Just anchoring like this and playing like this, and they can't move. It's just not easy for them to make a move. They might try to come down on this side of the board, and I think maybe this is what I was worried about, is that I don't have an easy breakthrough, and they have all the play on the left side of the board. That's probably what freaked me out a little bit. But again, we also have like 10 seconds. So rook h5, I was like, all right, I'm going to reposition my knight to the f4 square, you know? And then here, as we both get to like 10 seconds, I'm sitting there thinking, I let this one get away. Gotham, you let another one get away. You had a good position against these guys. There was no need to get into this type of a game, this kind of back and forth, messy game. But all right, let's see what happens. Bishop c6. I just make a move. Rook h6. Got to make a move. And then right here, I'm thinking, oh, that's it. I'm going to get cooked. I don't have a way through. I just don't. I mean, I'm being met with just the right level of defense. Everything is protected, and they still have the pawn breaks in the position. Bishop f3, pawn takes, and when this happened, I was like, well, I'm in trouble. That's not good. So I took the pawn, they traded with me, took on b4. I was like, they're threatening this, this, and this. And I don't even have a rook anymore. And their king is completely protected, but I was clutch. I played a really nice move here. I chucked my center pawn and played h4. And the reason I did this is because my king needs the safest possible getaway. I need to be as far away from the action as possible. So when they took, I realized they couldn't take this pawn. They couldn't take this pawn because I'm going to get into the position. Like, I have massive infiltration ideas with this, and they can't take this because knight h5 is an attack on their king and a discovered attack on their queen. When I played king h2, I actually didn't know, and they almost lost on time. They almost lost on time when they played the move queen b4. I think it was Rasmus who had to play this move. The only move they had here was king h7, so their biggest advantage of the game is minus 1 point whatever you're seeing there. It's kind of bouncing around. My biggest advantage of the game was when they played f5. It was also around plus 1.6, 1.5, you know? When they got in and they played this move, and I went king h2, and they went here, and I tried to infiltrate, and they went here, and I attacked their pawn, and they went here, I was like, what do I do? And to be honest with you, it's a draw. The position is completely deadlocked. Neither one of us can make a move. It's kind of insane. If they move the rook, I just take on g6, and I win the game. If the queen goes away, I take on g6 and I win the game. If any of my pieces back up, to be honest, I'm actually probably still fine. But I can't break through. It's not. I don't have a way to break through here. Maybe I try to play for h5. But in an insane turn of events, I went here and I straight up lost on time. I didn't know what to do. I had a lot of moves. Maybe I could have went b4. I went king g3 and I didn't press the clock fast enough. So I lost on time in an equal position. And what's funny is they knew it too. Like, we talked a little bit after the game, and Rasmus, the older brother, who was generally more pessimistic, he had some of that German pessimism. He was like, no, I think in the long run, you go here, and then, you go here, and then you play h5, and I think you're just crushing us. And I was like, actually, he's right. Like, what they have to do is they have to get out of the way, and then if I go here, they got to take and try to create some counterplay. But yeah, the position is actually really pleasant for white. So tragically, 41 moves into the game in an otherwise really, really close game. It was a good game. I'm very happy with my quality of play. I lost, unfortunately, on time, and time is part of the game. I had to be faster. So can I beat two Grandmasters at the same time? Almost. Not quite. What's funny is that in this game, we both played around 80, 83, 84. And the computer thinks that I played at 84% and they played at 82. But I still lost. I'm like the Indiana Pacers versus Oklahoma City Thunder in the finals, barely leading, but series is tied. So that was a fun one. Maybe we'll do it again. Of course, we also got a brilliant move, sacrificing the rook. Of course, can't have it any other way. And as I said in the intro, if you'd like, we have some Sacrifice the Rook merch, GothamChess.store. I'll drop it in the description as well. That was limited edition tour merch, but we're making it available for all of you if you'd like to get it. And we might have some more fun stuff there on the way. Tour was a lot of fun. And many more updates to come. Maybe there will be a second one late 2026. Save the date. Mark your calendars. Good game to the Svane brothers, and I'll see you again next time. Get out of here.